how's it going? I am here today to do another ranking for you guys. This time it's related to Pixar, and I will be telling you guys my top 10 most tear-jerking moments in Pixar movies. As no Pixar really loves to make its audiences cry, especially me. I've cried in many of their movies, so I'm just going to tell you guys my top 10 moments that have made me cry or teared up during Pixar movies. Just a fair warning for you guys, this will be a spoiler-filled video, so if you haven't seen a lot of the Pixar movies, I wouldn't watch this video because it will be filled with spoilers. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I would like to mention two honorable mentions first. The first one being the scene in Monsters University when Sully and Mike, they kind of share a heart-to-heart with each other at the lake. I've always loved that scene. You know, I got my MU hat right here. I love that movie. It's a great moment for both of the characters, in my opinion, and it's always brought a tear to my eye, in my opinion. And the final honorable mention is the scene in Onward where Barley is meeting his dad once again for the final time. That was a very emotional, impactful scene, very emotional movie, and this won't be the last time that I will be mentioning Onward in this list. Alright, so coming at number 10 is the scene in Monsters, Inc. where Sully says goodbye to Boo. This scene has definitely hit closer to home as I watched this movie a lot more as a teenager as well as an adult. There's great camaraderie between Mike and Sully in Monsters, Inc., and it definitely provides its audiences with some very great comedy and some very great moments throughout, but I think the heart of this movie is definitely the relationship between Boo and Sully. The scene breaks my heart though when Sully does have to say goodbye to Boo. I think the part in this scene that is quite the punch to the gut is when Boo goes to check the closet door when Sully leaves, thinking that Sully's just hiding out in her closet when in actuality he's not. You definitely hear the sadness in her voice after she realizes that. I've seen Monsters, Inc. too many times to count now, and that scene has always just brought a tear to my eye. Coming at number 9 is the scene in Up where we see the house sitting right next to Paradise Falls at the very end of the movie. I think you all already know that this won't be the last time Up appears on this list. This entire movie is Carl's journey to Paradise Falls. He encounters many challenges throughout, but as we draw closer to the end of the film and we see just how much Carl cares for the safety of Russell when he's captured by Charles Muntz, we realize that his efforts of fulfilling his wife's dream, moving to Paradise Falls, were not able to be accomplished. He made it to Paradise Falls, but once he desired Russell to be safe, he pushed off shelves, chairs, many things out of the house just to go and rescue Russell. Thinking Carl's wish to fulfill his wife's dream would not happen, but after the inevitable defeat of Muntz, we see the house, drift into the clouds, which I think is emotional enough already. It isn't until the final shot of the movie, though, where we do see that Carl's efforts actually did amount to something. We see the house sitting right next to Paradise Falls. Carl never knows this. He never knew what happened to the house that floated off into the clouds. But the audience knowing this also lets us know that Carl's journey and his spirit of adventure was never in vain. Even though he didn't know it, he was able to accomplish the thing that his wife wanted her entire life. Coming at number 8, we have the scene in Finding Dory where she reunites with her parents. Finding Dory wasn't a necessary movie. I really didn't think Finding Nemo warranted a sequel, but I still loved Finding Dory, and it still really got me in the feels. I think the search for Dory's parents was a really interesting thing to watch since Dory, barely remembered her parents due to her short-term memory loss. Dory travels far and wide as she tries to search for her parents, going into the Marine Life Institute, going into every aquarium, tank, trying to find her parents, but only to find, though, that her parents are nowhere to be found. When she's at her lowest, when all hope is lost, she comes across shells in the ocean, soon leading to the reveal that those were placed by Dory's parents, and they are right there, waiting for her. Thomas Newman's score in this scene, the track, very appropriately titled Shells, plays a huge part in this scene, giving lots of emotion to that scene. It's very beautiful, it's very moving that Dory's parents spend all their time placing shells, waiting right there for their daughter to come back, knowing that she would come back to her parents, was just something that really brought me to tears. Coming at number 7, we have the scene in Onward where we see Ian reflect on the line, "Share my life with him," in his little journal or notebook or whatever it was. Onward was a movie I wasn't expecting to be as emotional as it was. It was also a movie that I related to so much. I have brothers myself, so I related to Barley quite a bit because I am the oldest out of all my siblings, but I also relate to Ian quite a bit too, just someone who's anxious, filled with worry sometimes. And Ian and Barley go on this giant quest to try to bring their entire dad back for one whole day so that they can finally talk to him after not knowing him for pretty much all their lives. I mentioned this in my honorable mentions, but there are scenes involving, their dad that were very emotional too. But the one scene in this movie that made me cry the most was the scene where Ian realized that all the things that he wanted to do with his dad, he had that little notebook, he started crossing out things. All the things that he wanted to do with his dad, he had actually already done with his brother, realizing the true importance that his brother is playing in his life. But during that scene, when he reflects on that line, "Share my life with him," we see that beautiful montage of Ian and Barley growing up together, playing in the pool, learning how to ride a bike, things like that. The scene definitely made me reflect on my own relationships with my brothers, and definitely provided audiences with emotional Pixar moments that felt warranted. Coming at number 6, we have the scene in Toy Story 4 where Woody parts ways with the toys. Similar to Finding Dory, I didn't really feel like Toy Story had warranted another movie. It's most certainly a Woody movie. He goes through the movie trying to find solace in essentially being a lost toy. Bonnie doesn't really care for him all that much, but his desire to protect Forky throughout this movie was really great. It had lots of emotional weight to it as well, but the final scene where Woody parts ways with the toys was easily the scene that got to me the most. The scene where Woody parts ways with the toys to live life with Bo as a lost toy, I think was just a perfect ending to that character. There was a lot that we loved from the relationship of Woody and Buzz that we got to see throughout the entire saga of Toy Story movies, and just having to see those two toys part ways really signaled the end of this saga, in my opinion. It was beautiful, very moving, and it's one of the best moments in any Pixar movie, in my opinion. Coming at number 5, we have the scene in Toy Story 3 where Andy parts ways with the toys. I was 8 when this movie came out, and I still very vividly remember seeing this movie in theaters. Toy Story and Toy Story 2 were two of the biggest movies that I saw as a kid. They were pretty much always on repeat with a lot of other Disney and Pixar animated movies. So they were big parts of my childhood for sure. I loved the movies to death. I loved the characters. I loved the fun adventures that these toys went on. I loved quite literally everything about those two movies. And seeing Toy Story 3 was a really big revelation to me. After seeing that incineration scene, and the way I felt inside with Andy saying goodbye to the toys just made me realize that Pixar really cares about these movies. They put so much care and hard work into their movies, making them experiences unlike any other animated movie out there. I really don't know what else to say about this scene, just Andy at first not wanting to give up Woody, to Bonnie as she, reaches for it. He pulls back, but after Andy gives his little speech about the positive impact Woody has had on his life, and eventually handing it over to Bonnie, that was really when the tears started flowing for me, for my 8-year-old self, and even more so as an adult. Coming at number 4, we have the marriage life montage from Up. I don't even need to explain to you all why this scene is just so emotional. Almost everybody cries during this scene, and rightfully so. It's beautiful, it's touching, it's moving, and the movie's still just as good after that marriage life montage, despite what many people say about this movie. Coming at number 3 from Inside Out, we have Bean Bon's sacrifice. I really don't know what I can say about this scene. Just Giacchino's score is incredible, and definitely the big punch of the gut in this scene was when Bean Bon uttered those words, "Take her to the moon for me." Just brought so many tears to my eyes when I first watched it, and even more so to this day. Coming at number 2, we have the Nemo's egg scene from Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo is my favorite Pixar movie, though I don't think it has the saddest scene, even though it is very close. If I'm going to be real honest with you guys here, the thing that makes me cry is the score in this scene. Thomas Newman's score is unbelievably good in this movie. Marlin picks up that egg. It's the start of a long and perilous journey that will soon ensue for these two characters, and it's honestly the most beautiful story I've ever heard in any movie. I really don't have much else to say about this moment. The story is just so beautiful, and the animation is really gorgeous. And coming in at number 1, we have the scene in Inside Out where Riley comes home. A movie that deals with the subject of emotions really got to my emotions. Riley breaking down in front of her parents after coming home, wishing that she could go back to Minnesota, was just so moving and so powerful. Giacchino's score was very vital to this scene, and it truly shows that we all need sadness in our lives at some point. It felt very real, very raw to me. Pete Docter has become one of my favorite directors, and the way that he was able to create that scene was just very incredible to me. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video where I told you guys the 10 moments that have made me cry in Pixar movies, and there are a few more moments in Pixar movies that made me cry that I didn't mention. They really know how to make its audience cry for sure. So thank you guys for checking out this video. Let me know in the comments section some moments in Pixar movies that have made you guys cry. I'm sure a lot of you will agree with some of the picks that I put on this list. You can follow me on social media. I am on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. All the links for those can be found in the description of this video. Thank you guys for watching once again. I'm going to try to upload a few more videos before summer ends. It is slowly coming to a close. I just have about a month left before I head back to school. So thank you guys for watching once again. I will see you guys next time.